Day 47 of the Day English Speaking Challenge. So I think in my country we experience a major shift when it comes to the definition of dream jobs, and I believe it's not only in my country but especially in my country it is a thing, because like we used to think that becoming a corporate worker, having a job from 9 to 5, becoming a public servant or civil apparatus were the goal. Yeah, because it brings stability, it brings, certainty in the long run. But for people nowadays, it wasn't the most, they weren't the most important point when it comes to choosing what kind of field that you would like to work in or choose to work in, because people started to think about the environment, whether was it healthy or not, your coworkers, how they talk to you, how your boss treated you, about the money as well. And we started to make the things about certainty and not the first option, I'd say, because it's quite hard nowadays to find a decent work, and too much competition here and there. A lot of people means a lot of competition, and in the past there weren't many people who were skillful in a certain field, and for now those people were just everywhere, and we need to just when we think we are quite capable and skillful in a certain job, but somehow when you try to apply a job, then you met a lot of people who, let's say, have the same ability as yours or perhaps better. And then the dream of job for now, I think having time to having choice option where you can work perhaps from home, and when perhaps you can to choose when will you work. That's the main goal, and also the money, obviously, because that's important. That's the important thing about working, and that made those made the major shift more. So that's why from people in the past wanting to become, let's say, police or something like that, and now people tend to have opinion about the dream job to become, let's say, influencer, YouTuber, etc., because they give much more creativity, much more space to make your own time, or let you do and choose when will you work and where. And that's a dream job for now. And they give some YouTubers, or perhaps a lot of YouTubers, even made much more money than a doctor, let's say, or a police, or whatever, etc. And then what made it worse, at least in my country, people like if you know Indonesian and you read the comments on social media, you will tend to have this opinion of people tend to say, don't be a police, or defender. How do you call it, defender? I'm quite forget about the word in English, but yeah, don't be a police, because like a lot of issue and news about police were becoming the perpetrator in some cases, and it made the negative the negative feeling or negative tendency towards this particular job in my country, and just people did not want to make their children to work in this particular um, field. And it's also affecting the idea of dream jobs, because some people, like most people, or perhaps not most, but some people will still holding their own values and becoming, let's say, idealists with their life, so that they didn't want to, jump into a certain field in the first place. They didn't know what they wanted. They didn't know what they want to do, but they know what they didn't want to do, and that's happening. And I am one part of those people. Although I tried to, put my idealistic aside before, but it failed. Basically, it failed, and somehow I still have this, feeling, to urge of doing things that didn't, align to the idea of a job that I do not wish to jump into. And I hope I could be a successful woman in the future or in the past, because if you're being successful, you got more options. You can to, solve a lot of problems when it was related to economical condition, related to money, etc. And you could just solve much problem, I would say. And then if you could solve more problems, you could solve, or let's say finish some arguments with some people, or even with your family members. And yeah, that's about dream jobs. And well, that's what I can say. Perhaps that is one of the reasons why I am filming myself and uploading on YouTube. Although I'm not really sure if I could be a good YouTuber one day, or I could be a good influencer one day, but I am more focusing on talking in English for right now. I do not wish that my skill when it comes to speaking in English is, getting better and getting worse. One day getting better, one day getting worse, just because I rarely, practice the skill. And I hope I could speak in English better and better. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Bye.